What the fuck was that? What's up, you guys? You're back with Zorawk. The fan translation of One Piece chapter 1028 is out, so if you don't want to be spoiled on that, be sure to skip this video. And as a special treat for everyone, seeing that no one really watches the Sunday official review, I'm actually going to be giving my full review and grades during this first viewing. So without further ado, the chapter is titled Brachiosaur Hiss, which is a play on of what happens later in the chapter with Sanji and Queen's fight. Before we jump into all of that, the chapter starts off with a Mary looking at a conversation between CP0. And it looks like it's going to be all members of CP0, because we find out later in the conversation that the members that are already on Wano are having a conversation with none other than Rob Lucci's group. And Rob Lucci is telling them that, orders are coming down from the top of the world government stating that, if somehow Kaido happens to fall, we have battleships in waiting and we are ready to annex the independent land of Wano. Rob Lucci and his gang also sends out notice that there's another order that's coming down. And we see Kaku and Stussy, I believe, in the background. And they're saying, capture Nico Robin. So we have some huge world-shaking events shaping out in the backdrop of these final few fights. And, if it wasn't clear before, it's absolutely clear to me now that it looks like Luffy and gang are going to defeat Kaido and crew. It looks like the raid is going to work. And then we're going to have all this stuff in waiting for once it's over. So we're going to speculate a ton on that in the coming weeks. But our guy Rob Lucci's back and really shifting the tides of the story. And by the way, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Didn't really succeed in the Nico Robin capture back in the day, old school One Piece. And so maybe now second time's the charm, but we'll see. Moving from there, we go to Nico Robin, who is being accompanied by Brook, and he's taking out a lot of the beast pirate soldiers on their way to somewhere. And Nico Robin is saying, you're very reliable, Brook. We'll find out how reliable he is soon, potentially, if CP0 sends out someone to go capture her in the near future. He hasn't had a really good solid fight yet, so maybe he'll have the opportunity to show off some more skills if they do send members to capture Nico Robin. We then move to the outskirts of Onigashima. We see that Yamato has left Momonosuke's side to go try to de-escalate some of the bombs that are in the basement of Onigashima, which caught me a little bit off guard because I thought that the bombs were in Wano, not necessarily on Onigashima. So that's a little strange, but maybe there's a bit of confusion on my part. But she's left him, and he's left to figure out what to do on his own. And he's like, I don't know how to generate these flame clouds. How am I going to stop all of this? So he's looking like he's in a bad way now. But I believe in you, Momo. You've got this. Certainly he'll figure out what to do at some point. But yeah, definitely see a Hour of Legends, or as I've speculated in the comment sections of some other videos, maybe a 24-hour of Legends coming up for him. But we'll see. Seems like he can't really do much now, so it might be a bit of a stretch to call it 24 hours. We'll see as time moves on. Then we move to Yamato, who is going through the bottom of Onigashima. She's transformed into her full beast mode, and she's traveling through. Looks really cool there. Really like her full beast form transformation. We then go back to the live floor, where we see the battle between Queen and Sanji, and Sanji is delivering some attacks on Queen. Queen is parrying them, and then he's delivering some attacks of his own. Says to Sanji, hey, get out the rage suit, get serious. I saw you use it earlier against King, and you used it to go into your stealth form. So where is it? Sanji's insisting that don't call me a Vinsmoke. I'm not going to use the suit again. And he's still acting weird because something is weird with his body. We then see Queen deliver an attack called Black Coffee. Strange name, but it looks very similar to some of the beams that Frankie has fired in the past, his radical beam. So kind of crazy that Queen can just do those blasts at will. Then Sanji dodges the Black Coffee, hits him with the Diablo Jumbo grill shot, and really delivers a good, strong attack against Queen. Queen says, wow, not bad for a normal kick. And says, fine, if that's how you want to do it, let me show you the quote-unquote unaltered raw power of a dinosaur, which I think it's a wee bit of a stretch to call it the unaltered raw power of a dinosaur based off of what we see after he says this. So he goes into full beast form, it seems, and gets on all fours. Then we see his tail flex, and then all we see is his head and tail are gone. And when I was first reading this, I was like, what in the world is happening? I had to go back a few times, had to check it out, make sure something wasn't wrong with my eyes, because all I saw was his tail wasn't there anymore, his head wasn't there anymore, and there was this random thing looking like it was coming in his direction. What it turns out happened was the way his body is set up, the head and the tail are kind of connected, and it's a bit of a snake that is attached to the rest of his body, which, if you haven't seen the chapter, you for some reason skipped over the visuals at the beginning of this video. Super trippy when I say that, but you can kind of see how that works out if you read the chapter and kind of take a look at the later visuals. But really tripped me out in the beginning, and seems like it tripped everyone else out too, because they're like, how in the world are you doing that? So anyway, the snake part of his body goes after Sanji and has him in a serpentine-like hold, and he is touting how even people who have mastered armament haki have been crushed by this move. And so he's really putting the shrews to Sanji here, and he calls it his Brachial Hold or Brachial Hold, whatever. But he has Sanji in this move, and he points out that for a lesser person, the husk of a shell that he left behind when he went into that snake form would just be essentially dead weight, shedded skin. But he's a scientist, and so of course it has functionality, and so the rest of his body is able to shoot these cannons whenever he says a code word, and I'm trying to remember what it was. As soon as I mention the brachial launchers, yeah, that's what it is. So whenever he says brachial launchers, they'll shoot brachial launchers at his location, or at his opponent, presumably. So while he has Sanji in this hold, it's a little bit of a gag. He keeps saying the words brachial launchers, and then the rest of his body keeps shooting these launchers at him and Sanji, and so that's eventually how his grip on Sanji waned. And so then we see Sanji after all of this, and his body is looking really, really mangled. The left side of his body is contorted. It kind of looks like how Yonji's body looked after his fight with Sanji. And just like Yonji, Sanji was able to actually mold his body back into shape, and he notes, oh no, like, I'm starting to become a monster just like them. So it seems like why Sanji was feeling weird was because he was starting to awaken his latent Vinsmoke abilities, which, can't wait to hear the explanation on all of this. But Queen goes in to attack Sanji with his blade, and the blade snaps off. So now it looks like, it's all but confirmed that Sanji now at least has awakened some of the abilities that his siblings have had, which again, can't wait to hear why this is. The obvious explanation, if this is the explanation, is that the raid suit somehow, messed with his DNA, and it, allowed whatever was preventing him from not having those genetic alterations to have them awaken now. So going to be very fascinating to find out. But Sanji just got a major upgrade, especially when you consider that he was much stronger than Yonji when they first met in combat. You could arguably say that he was stronger than the other two as well. So with this upgrade, that's going to put him in another tier and is going to be definitely what he needs to put Queen away. As a Zoro fanboy, though, I'm a little nervous about what this means, because Sanji now, the biggest jab against him the entire New World period was that he kept going up against these stronger opponents, essentially like the end game bosses of the arcs, and kept getting put down. The biggest gripe I had was the fight against Virgo when he was exchanging kicks and Virgo broke his leg. Right, we saw that infamous panel where you saw his leg snap. But with this new capability, I mean, that is kind of erased. Right, so now Sanji, I think, is truly worthy of a commander level title after all of this. And I think Queen is going to be in trouble, because with this new ability, he's covered up a major flaw and hole in his game. So that was super exciting. Really solid chapter, guys, for me. Really enjoyed reading this. Even the first two chapters, I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this is awesome. Granted, a little bit of a bias. I recently got a cat in my life, and I named it Rob Lucci. And I'm sure you can all imagine why. And so just seeing Rob Lucci in this chapter and then having my cat come in really made it extra special. So awesome chapter, guys. Great world building in the background at the beginning, and then some solid action, some great character, quote unquote, character progression for Sanji that should be very, very significant for his future going forward. So, I'm going to have to give this chapter a solid A-. I think this was terrific. I think this did all the right things, and I'm super bummed that there's a break next week, but so pumped for when we return. But what did you guys think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Did you like the chapter? Did you not like the chapter? And what are you looking forward to in the future in terms of all of the plot points that we touched on here? So sure, there will be tons of theory videos coming out in the next few weeks as we wait for chapter 1029. But until then, take care, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.